Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSI DFS. I am McKinley412, and today we're going to be looking at this 10-game main slate on Wednesday. We don't have a video out for the early games, just 3 games, or early slate, just 3 games. So we're going to be focusing on this 10-gamer. We're getting late into the season. Playoff races are in full swing. We got a couple of teams who are, every single day seems to be playing for their playoff lives, and a couple more teams that are just kind of playing for nothing at this point. A lot of good pitching options. So I think it's a nice slate to build, but salary can be a little tough if we can't find any of the value. So we'll just start off with the pitchers. Right up at the top, we got ZACK. Philadelphia is one of those teams that's playing for their playoff lives. They're a couple games out of the wild card. They got probably a more realistic chance of catching Atlanta in the division. I think they're only 2 games back at the time of this recording. So they're going to be relying heavily on Wheeler to really go deep into games, to really carry him when he is pitching. So I expect him, he's already a workhorse, but I fully expect him to be going over 100 pitches. He's in great form. He's got a great matchup going up against Baltimore. Baltimore strikes out the 4th most of any team in the majors against right-handed pitching in the past month. So he's definitely capable of having one of his ceiling games given the matchup. So I love Wheeler, 10.4K, no issues with that salary at all. Luis Garcia going up against the Angels. The Angels, they strike out more than the Orioles do. They're actually the 3rd highest strikeout team in the past month against right-handed pitching. But, he's not going as deep into games. You can kind of see his pitch count is right around 80 pitches. It's tough to get excited about a guy at 10,000 who's only really going to be getting you 80 pitches. Limited, he doesn't have the K upside of Wheeler at all. So you can kind of see his form's been pretty lackluster too. So it's Wheeler over Garcia, hands down, no questions. I'm not really gonna have too much Garcia outside of a deep GPP. Walker Buehler up next. He's in Coors Field. That's pretty much all you need to know. He's in Coors Field, going up against Colorado. Not really somebody that you want to be targeting. Chris Sale, I want to like him more. He's a lefty. He's going against the Mets. The Mets can strike out. Their offense is just collapsing. But I don't know. Like something's not right. 9.6K. I really want to like him at this price and the matchup. Boston, they're in our team. That's they're in the thick of the playoff hunt. They need to win these games. They need to rely on their aces here. But I don't know. Something's not sitting right. So if you land on Sale, great. If you don't, I don't think he's going to burn you. He's not going to break the slate or anything. Kluber is in a great matchup going up against Texas and their weaker offense. They don't strike out as much. He's been kind of more of a boom or bust pitcher. His floor has been pretty low, but we know what his ceiling can be with a couple of his performances earlier on in the season. One of them against this Texas team. He had that no-hitter. 51 DK points. So he's definitely mowed this team down before. Maybe he can do it again. Maybe not. As you can kind of see, his floor is limited. But if you do land there at 9K, totally fine. Like I said, there's lots of great pitching options. Wheeler, Sale, Kluber, and there's a couple more guys I want to talk about here. Anderson going up against Arizona. He's fine. He's fine. Not going to talk too much about him. Joe Ryan, we do want to focus on him though. A little cheaper than Anderson. He's only got 3 starts under his belt. You can kind of see he can go deep into games if he's pitching well, and pretty decent. I wish he wasn't 8.2K. I wish he kind of stayed around that high 7 mark. I'd like him a whole lot more, especially going up against Chicago. We'll have to look at the weather. If we got a strong winds blowing in like we had on Tuesday, definitely gonna have a lot more interest in this guy. But so far, so good in his majors. Anderson doesn't strike anybody out. Hendricks and Marquez, GPP only. Velasquez, he is back. He is on San Diego now. He just got signed with them. His first start with San Diego did not go well. He's still getting hit very hard. There's lots of hard contact going against him, so no thank you. Flexen and Walker, they're kind of like, they're fine. I prefer Flexen over Walker just given the matchup. I prefer going up against Oakland and Boston. Flex has been weird this season. He has outperformed. He's kind of come back to earth. But overall, he can give you a little bit of a floor, especially with his price drop. He was in that 8K range. Now he's a flat 7K. He's not going to be burning your lineup or anything. So if you do land on him there, you can see he faced Oakland earlier this season, last month, put up 22 DK points. So he's more incapable of holding him down. But if he got 22 DK points there, and he's averaging 10 in 3 starts, that means his other 2 pretty rough. So flexing, just GPP, but not terrible. Cole Irvin, I think he's the kind of the last guy I want to focus on here. 5.8K. This is a guy who we were paying close to 8K, if not over 8K, earlier on the season. He was doing well. Yeah, right there. So he was over 8K. Like, he was doing well. He had many, like 18 to 24 point outings. He was doing well. And then he just kind of like fell off a cliff. We don't know what happened. He was doing terrible, and his price just plummeted. Well, his past 2 starts against Texas and the Angels, he was able to get back in form, get back to what he was doing earlier on the season, and he's retained that plummeted price. It's even gone down even more after those 2 starts. So we've gone up against Seattle. Seattle doesn't strike out a whole ton, but their offense doesn't really scare me too much. So if you do land on Irvin, I think Irvin is a fine punt play for us here, like an SP2, just really given the price and given the matchup. So that's pretty much it for the pitchers. So real quick, Wheeler, love him, probably top option. Garcia, go to Wheeler. Buehler, he's in Coors. Sale, I want to like him more, but something's not sitting right. Kluber, boom or bust, going up against Texas team that he had a no-hit again earlier on in the season. Ryan, nice start, great matchup against the Cubs. Anderson, he's fine. Ian Anderson, that is. Hendricks, Marquez, GPP, Flexen, GPP, and Irvin. He's kind of interesting as well. Everybody else, not too really thrilled about, just given all the matchups and everything there. So let's turn towards the bats. We'll just give you a couple of the teams that are standing out. First team, LA Dodgers, going up against Marquez. I know Marquez, he's one of the better pitchers of Coors, but he's really been struggling. So this Dodgers team, they have been hitting very well. They're going into Coors. They're playing for that division spot. Corey Seager, 4.3K. DraftKings, what are you doing? He is just way too cheap. He's going to be the cover boy of this video. Just plug him in. Just plug him in. He is way too cheap. I was looking at his numbers and just kind of laughing because 9 games against Colorado this season, he's hitting 464. That's just unreal. I know all of them haven't been against Marquez, but still, it is just way too low of a price for a guy of his talent in a lefty-righty matchup in Coors of a team whose implied run total could be close to 7. So 4.3K, I don't know what's going on there. So plug Corey Seager into your lineups. Absolutely. Everybody else on the Dodgers, I mean, they got the Coors treatment, but honestly, not as much of a Coors treatment as you kind of would have expected. They are expensive, so it's going to be nearly impossible to fit them in with a guy like Wheeler and another ace. But if you go to like a guy like Wheeler and Irvin, you can more than capable of jamming in a couple of these LA Dodger bats, especially with Seager at 4.3K. Lux, 2.8K. He got a super cheap. He went down. He was 3K on Tuesday, so he went down as well. So there's definitely a possibility of you jamming in all those Dodger stacks with Wheeler as well. Next thing I want to talk about is San Francisco. San Francisco going up against Velasquez. I'm really targeting the, well, I guess I'm targeting lefties and righties. 5 guys I want to talk about. Crawford. Now, Crawford, shortstop. Seager's going to be popular. So if you go Crawford, that's a great way to, differentiate yourself. You could have a pretty chalky lineup, but just going to Crawford instead of Seager, I know he's a lot more expensive, but just that one swap can really alter your lineup. But Crawford, Belt, let me get these guys in. Wade, Longoria, and Bryant. I think I got them all. These 5 guys here, they're all hitting over 300 against right-handed pitching. So what more do you need? You got 5 guys who are hitting over 300 against right-handed pitching. It's a pitcher who is, he just got signed from not having a team because he was doing terrible. He's getting hit hard. So if you want to go with these Giants bats, Giants stack, I think could be really intriguing. Let's see. Can we jam them in with a guy like Zack Wheeler? 10.4K. All right, so we're down to 3, but now we need to jam in a pitcher. So let's throw in Cole Irvin just to see where we end up. 2.7K. So punt a catcher maybe, and you can easily get a San Francisco stack in here with an ace like Wheeler, or maybe you go in more in the middle ground. But San Francisco, I really love those 5 bats from that team. Dodgers, obviously in Coors as well. Philadelphia going up against Aiken and that terrible Baltimore bullpen. They're going to be highly owned. New York Yankees, they're going to have a high implied run total as well. I think the over under in this game is 9, and the Yankees are a massive favorite. So Gary Sanchez, 3.7K. He might be one of the most popular catchers or highest rated catchers on the slate. Stanton at 4.3K. He's a guy kind of like Seager. This is way too cheap of a price for him, given the matchup, given everything that is going on. So Stanton, Seager, far too cheap. I like both those guys. Kind of see if there's any other team. I mean, Houston, they're going to be in a nice spot as well. They're pretty pricey, but Tucker, 4.4K. DK, what are you doing? There's so many upper mid price guys that 4.4, 4.3. I'm talking about Stanton, Tucker, and Seager. But I just think they all should be closer to 5K, if not above 5K on this slate. So like those are the 3 bats that I think are just like they're just far too cheap. But stacks wise, it's going to be the Dodgers, it's going to be the Giants, Philadelphia, New York Yankees, Boston, and there. So as always, good luck in your contest tonight. Oh, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. We're so close to 3,000. We really do want to get 3,000. It's pretty amazing how far we've grown in just 1 year. We started this a year ago, so almost 3,000. It just blows my mind. So make sure you do all that, and good luck in your contest, and we will see you in the next video.